Okay, here is TD Memories, who we just call TD, and he's a 16 two and a half hand 3-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Santiva, and he had 11 career starts, and his last one was just recently on October 7th, so very recently off the track. This is his second post-track ride, and yes, that is a hoof boot on his left front foot. I've yet to have a ride on this horse where he actually had both of his front shoes on. In his first post track ride, we started with both front shoes on, but he still had on his racing plates and they were loose as it was. I didn't realize that we were going to immediately step out of both of them, but as it was, that's what happened. So then, and I didn't even realize we had stepped out of them. So in his first post track ride, I rode him around with zero front shoes for the whole time without even knowing it, which is hilarious. And then for this ride, when I was getting him ready and grooming him on cross ties, he just did one of those moves, where they take one sideways step and they step perfectly on the edge of the shoe, and he actually didn't pull it all the way off. He just sort of loosened it, and it sort of shifted a little bit, but it shifted and loosened to the degree that we had to finish the job for him and pull it off. So I was pretty annoyed when that happened. So I decided, you know what? He can get the boot on and he can do a really light second ride with the boot on. And he felt perfectly fine in the boot. Sometimes they can be a little awkward, understandably, if they're not used to the boot, but he was fine. And of course, you don't want to do too much because his foot's wrapped up with vet wrap underneath it. But obviously, you don't want to cause any rubs or irritation or anything like that. But he could do a quick 15-minute ride with the boot on, and he felt great. So it was all fine. I'm sure my farrier's pretty annoyed that he has to come right back and tack that shoe on, but such is life. And it seems like this horse is just having a fun time torturing me with his shoes. And I hope that the next time I ride him, we actually have two front shoes on for the whole ride. That would be a delight. He is a beautiful moving horse, even missing shoes. So I can't wait to experience him with both of his front shoes on. And so this is a big athletic 3-year-old, but he's just so chill in his brain. And he really is being so mature about the steering and the straightness. And I'm not saying it's perfect everywhere because it's not, but he's certainly not exaggerating it. He's not being kind of like difficult or extra leany in any area or way. So we started incorporating some trotting around over poles. And this was funny. He just, you don't realize that you're riding kind of like a cooked noodle until you're trying to take a horse on its second post track ride in a straight line through a couple of ground poles, but he was very good about it. Now, this is just bounce cavaletti. Said I let him walk through a couple of times first, and he did that very confidently. So then I decided that we could trot through them. Of course, the goal being on straightness. And actually, he was so good about it. He has such a willing brain. I really, really like this horse. I think he's the whole package. He's big, he's athletic, he's a good mover, no injuries, clean legs, straight feet, all that good stuff. And then on top of it, just a super trainable, willing brain. Just really strikes me as like an easy to ride and train type quality horse. So for whatever reason right now, his preferred lead to pick up is the right lead. And when I rode him the first time, we left the left lead until the end of the ride, but then I felt like he was kind of tired. So I decided to just do the left lead first so that I could get the left lead while he was a little bit fresher. And so, of course, we picked it up over that cavaletti, which was very good. Now, we actually did it a second time also, but I'm not sure what happened. There was some sort of videoing miscommunication, and somehow we didn't get the second time on camera, but we did it twice, back-to-back canter transitions over the cavaletti, and he stepped into the left lead both times, so that was a very good, smart boy. So then we spent less time to the right today because I felt like on the last ride we spent the majority of our time to the right because he was a little bit easier to the right. And obviously he's a 3-year-old. This is his second post-track ride. He's got tons of growing to do and all the things, but goodness, he makes a beautiful shape in the bridle. And yes, of course it's not perfect. No one would expect it to be perfect, but actually he's pretty darn steady and consistent for such a young green horse. And he's really quiet in his mouth. You hardly see any mouth opening, or he's just very sort of settled in general. It's just his demeanor, and that carries across sort of to every part of him. And I just think I can't wait to ride this horse with both of his front shoes on. Now, in the canter, I do think that he's not quite got the strength across his top line to really be round with me sitting the canter. And that's not to say that in a handful of rides he's not there and he can't do it. But, he's sort of like he's trying and he's semi soft. But the moment that I just sort of lighten my seat and get into a little bit of half seat, it's so much easier for him to connect. And actually, there he is breaking. What a wild baby thoroughbred he is. He just has such an easier time following the contact right now with me in half seat. And so this is the second post track ride. So that is just fine for him to cruise around like this for a few more rides and really develop the feeling and the connection, and then gently add in some sitting here over the next couple of weeks. He's just a growing 3-year-old baby horse. There's no rush in the world about this. Actually, I'm not sure if it's maybe as we come around this corner, he felt really good. Yeah, this looks quite good. So I put my inside hand forward to give him a little pat up right here. It's not that obvious on the video, but I spooked him because I wasn't paying enough attention to my stick. And my stick hit my right stirrup, made a noise. So here I am trying to pat him because I'm just trying to tell him he's being a good boy, and instead I'm like scaring him, and he shot off for a step very mildly. But anyway, it was just one of those stupid rider things that we do sometimes where you achieve the total opposite of what you were going for. Oh, such a lovely trot. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me this ride. I was a little bit off. I certainly did not do a very good job of sitting up. Obviously, didn't have very good control of my stick since I was spooking the horse with it. So, not my finest hour, but I think he was quite glowing and wonderful despite me. So, this is him on cross ties. He is extremely sweet and personable on the ground. And I really like this horse. I think he's the whole package.